The greatest way to apologize for acting rudely is to act rudely yourself. The worst way to say I'm sorry, jerk, is to do that while brandishing a firearm at your audience, and I both understand which. Tandy opted to use the most recent episode, and now he must deal with the repercussions. Not much, in fact, came of his misguided activities. Occurs most often during the episode time observing what Candy does with his punishment that, fortunately, is humorous enough to broadcast for 30 minutes. There are a lot of episodes that you could enumerate. The last Phil Tandy Miller slop. The third episode of the season, Man on Earth. We may include the episode Human Garbage God, Abandoned Tool, and Murderous Madman 2. If you missed it, here is the list. A general feeling of disdain towards this individual. Failed to equip the remainder with a gun. Members of the colony specifically during this time. They were prepared to allow him to leave by. He had a temper fit about Phil once. No longer outstanding his criticized. He was imprisoned in a stalk with the Outer Eagle. First, the pillory, which is a dreadful place to be. When Phil arrives bearing a loaded gun and directs it at Tawny's head, Tandy makes an effort to demonstrate that they were the target of a gunshot, but at least that weapon was empty throughout this defense. Not very effective with Phil, who discharges the rifle a few times in the air. The last thing Tandy received was his, although he did lose something in the process. Procedure will require a new pair of trousers. After Phil calls, perhaps some underwear. Carol being, along with some shoes for sure, the beautiful wife that she is. Phil's pants are changed for him, and to convince the others to stop feud considers giving him one as punishment. 1 week solitary confinement in the. Tandy performs another at the gym after that. He increases the time, which is utterly ridiculous, indicating that they give him 5 weeks. All a part of his quest for supremacy. Accommodating and very conscious of his errors made in an effort to gain favor. Team to overlook his seeming shortcomings. To understand, though, is that this is like an especially challenging crowd. Follow the most recent recap. For the final guy on Earth by joining the list. Carol, our channel, is having difficulty to get the reasoning behind why sweets. The lesser sentence that Phil received. Anything that was originally proposed and leads Tandy to admit that he's always gone with the. This time, he doesn't choose the quicker path. In addition to this, women and guys. Before our very eyes, Tandy turned into a man. Ladies and gentlemen, they are soft eyes. Returning to a kid he had already seen. Carol eating some cheese prepared at home. And thereafter, he discovers some of the he does with the cheese that is still outside. What a post-apocalyptic person might do. A world with little fresh dairy would suffice. He runs away from his salt and descends the. As Carol sagely informed Melissa. Cheese early will make you feel. The better issue is that it doesn't actually. I feel better, Tanya, maybe for a moment. Short, but he chose to swallow it. It subsequently vomited it out twice because he is conscious of his actions and feels he may as well have eaten his shame. I took a bite of cheese though, given that he is now. Punishment is set to worsen significantly. Worse, the crew attaches a shark collar. Tandy so he can only walk a certain distance. Little yard boundary where he acts like he is okay with it. This is a really good. He rapes as punishment but is plainly. He exhibits his extreme loneliness by trying to talk to everyone that passes by, which this leads to Melissa requesting that he absolutely quiet and wishful. Believing Melissa Tawny will have a second one with color that missed citronella oil in the expression on his face each time he talks. He is only able to speak quietly or conversing with and handling a citronella. Whether it's oil or charades, this doesn't. But not for that long, since Phil finally hurls him into a little shed that appears to be around porta-potty size. Let's just be honest, shall we? Children develop is composed of a number of bullets. Its sweets is quite irritating. You deserve to be bothersome if you're annoying. Not even a person, but a dog. Ordinary dog, but one that is a member of rude property owners who don't even like animals. Shouldn't have a dog to begin with. I'm not at all a fan of these recaps. Understands that I don't much enjoy the colonists who have arrived to speak for violence in a well-functioning, orderly society. Not long after, Melissa begins to jeer the imprisonment of Candy by using a beer bucket outside his shock. Perimeter. Candy has always been his own slave. Imposes keeps shocking himself too. Self-control and punishment for the benefit of the others, in opposition to. He offers to wear his wants and desires. A spray collar that he can wear. Every time he talks, he uses citronella. Colonists quickly concur with after Melissa informs Carol the circumstances. We notice that Todd is acting strange and aloof. In the middle of the night, he sneaked out. Is he lying to unidentified parties? Ironically, predictably on her. Todd criticizes Tawny for being hypocritical, a breach of the colonists' faith in Tandy. He demonstrates that the breed may also. The point in the episode where the fire starts. He escapes his shed in the yard, so using buckets of pool water, he can. The home was saved from fire, rescuing his crew in his shock. Color is fading and might harm him. Brain, undoubtedly prompting him to create a ton of very enjoyable and a little pitiful yelps like a good puppy. He leaves the game and goes back to his shed. Every fireman awakens the following day and immediately understands Tandy must have being the one who extinguished the fire. Brave deed gains him early recognition. Release from custody with the assistance of course, it was Carol who murdered it as his unauthorized attorney. This episode allowing Dandy out early does not imply that they enjoy. Despite him, they all leave after fully sympathetic about his release. Specifically, Todd's presence suggests particularly irritated by Tandy, but Todd may also have a secret that he is how the show concludes. Opening a home's door and introducing yourself. There's a chance that's where you live. This isn't a secret at all, but the method too. Snakes in the dark toward the home. It certainly appears to be at night, and for the purpose of the show I hope it is the best. Keeping things secret from the others. Organization would undoubtedly produce some beneficial drama, particularly because he was the one who said to believe in this very episode. Is it the most crucial factor? Thus, Todd practiced a fundamental in this episode. Theorizing about society's preferred. The use of very harsh punishment. Upstanding members frequently participate in socially accepted criminal behavior. A small group of apparently respectable people. Those who sing carols here are unable to. The political environment, but the episode's conclusion makes the proposal. Todd is about to receive a warning for unethical actions imply that Tandy will soon have a pal on the periphery. Another incident, another break in communication with the astronaut brother of Tawny, circling the planet in outer space.